Oh, good.
We're going chasing.
Hello there, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Hello now, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Now, we have a lot on the agenda, lads, so we'll cut the chase and get straight down to the business.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of We're Going Chasing. Killian, how was your weekend?
Good, yeah, nice weekend. Wasn't at any racing now, unfortunately.
You didn't go to Fairyhouse, no?
No, too far.
Too far. I suppose it's a small bit of a lull after Christmas, isn't it?
It is, yeah, a small bit. Like I've actually, the Punchestown card that was on on Sunday, I've been there the last couple of years, and it's a very good day out. But I didn't make it this year now.
Yeah, I didn't get racing now myself at all. I was at more football matches and training and whatnot this weekend, more so
Bit of
than the
hurling match
racing.
on Sunday.
Galway
Yeah,
hammered Leash.
yeah, but sure.
Yeah,
A good club team in Galway beat Leash probably.
yeah, and tip bet Limerick today in the football too, which is savage for them.
Yeah.
Let's get rolling. There's not a whole pile to be going through, but there was a few nice performances too. So it shouldn't take too long to run through it, but there definitely is talking points. The first horse we have in the green is Quilixius. Was quite impressive in beating Safior and Mr. Policeman. It proved to be a decent horse over fences. Mr. Policeman, very disappointing, really. Willie even said after the race the bubble has sort of burst on him. I'm sure he'll be stepping up in trip, but this is all about Quilixius.
It is, yeah. It's 2 mile chasers, like one that attacks his fences and one that didn't. Is sort of the way I'd be looking at it. And as with a lot of Henry 2 mile chasers, they're all really quick and over their fences, and they attack their obstacles. And Quilixios did, and when he took it up, it never really looked like Sapphire was going to go past him, to be honest. I really fancy Quilixios. I know I had him up on Twitter on the Sunday before it was abandoned, and I ended up backing him on Friday, but I didn't actually see the race live. I was at work, but yeah, looking back at it, he was very, very impressive. Mr. Policeman, yeah, the bubble is probably burst, but
Yeah,
I think it was. I probably bought into the hype as well. I was like, oh look, it's
so did I.
fancy horse coming over from France in fancy colours. It won a hurdle race as easy as he liked. I know it only beat Cashback, but it still was as easy as he wanted to win. And I suppose the beginner's chase the last day probably told its own story, that the stable mate in the same colours looked like he was going to have him beat. He was a bit workmanlike, and maybe just a step up in trip now might reignite him. But he definitely needs to improve his jumping. He's very slow at his fences, I thought.
Yeah, very slow. That was really he had no chance of winning the way he was meeting most fences there.
Like
Um,
Quilixios, he's high class horse, and he missed a lot of time. Like he missed last season. But he had obviously won the Triumph Hurdle, and like in his sort of the season afterwards, he ended up being beaten by Teahupoo 3 times. It's like that's not bad
No.
feat either. He's a very good horse, and I think he's definitely seems to be enjoying his time over fences. The 3 miles just stretched him in Punchestown. He looks a proper 2 mile chaser, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think anyway. So hopefully he's I'd say he might go straight to the Arkle now. He's had 3 runs, so I'd say he'd go straight to the Arkle. Couldn't see him beating Marine National, but he could definitely hit the
No.
frame.
Yeah, he could, although it'd probably still surprise me if he hit the frame. To be honest, I don't think he's quite up to that level. But look, you might be right. And the next one, reading Tommy wrong, and as Emma Nagel said on Twitter, everybody was reading Tommy wrong. Very, very good tweet. But yeah, like you're going back to that maiden hurdle run, where he beat Lisnagar Fortune by a short head. Staffordshire Knot was only back 2 lengths further back. Walkaway Harry was bet 7 lengths. Now Lisnagar Fortune obviously went and won a maiden hurdle today at 10-11, which is a good price really for people who were on it. With the farm franked on Friday.
It's great, 1 farm. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very good price, really. A Staffordshire Knot also went out and won a bumper in January as well. So I suppose the farm was franked a small bit, and those who were on Listening Our Fortune today on Sunday did quite well. But Reading Tommy Wrong was very good. Got a great ride by Daryl Jacob, I felt. You know, they were going very hard up front. Daryl took his time, eased the horse into the race, and produced him with one very good run to go and beat Il Atlantique by a neck. As you heard Willie speaking after the race, both top horses there, the two horses who've come first and second, Reading Tommy Wrong and Il Atlantique, is very impressed with both of them. Both kept sort of extending to the line, pulling away from Lecky Wetson and Firefox Lecky Wetson, who's a bit of a boat in his own right, but pulled away from both of them. And you know, it was an impressive performance from the first two, I'd say. Lecky Wetson is not a bad horse and will be better over a longer trip, but you know, he is very slow. But Reading Tommy Wrong, Killian, in the green, double green, in the green again, and we'll be speaking about the double green later on, but he was their main one this weekend.
Yeah, he was. It was very, very impressive run now, and like they pulled mile clear of the third horse, which is always a good sign as well. I think in Atlantique, I had him in my team to follow. I just suspicion he might have been a small bit of a weak finisher, but I see people were saying he finished weak again. I don't think that's the case. I think it was a very good ride from Daryl Jacob. I think he was a sitting duck nearly there in Atlantique, and like they've still came way clear of third, and Lecky Watson was only just sort of keeping on at the one pace. He wasn't really staying on like a real 3 miler would. So I'd say he'd probably go to the potato race, but I wouldn't be too gone. And then Firefox go back to 2 miles on Tubber. It's hard to know. He just jumped really late.
I wouldn't be against Lecky Watson in the potato race. The Albert Bartlett is if anybody is unsure, but I wouldn't be against him. You
I
know,
just don't think he's classy enough.
yeah, and it is classier horses who have been winning it the last couple of years. Previously, you'd be looking for a sort of a battle. You'd be looking for a sort of him, a battle hardened sort of type who's been running a lot. He would fit the old profile for the race.
Yeah, not the new one though, I don't think.
Yeah,
I just don't think he'd have the class to win it. He definitely could hit the frame, but just don't know would he be classy enough to win the race. And Tubber then just didn't jump at all. Again, I'd say up and trip. He could be going. Chapwood Desai in Crow Park. Then Chapwood Desai again. Just like he looked like he was going to try and make
lost the race after about two.
Yeah, the first hurdle it was a bit all over. He's very disappointing. In Crow Park, I'm not really sure what happened with him. He looked to be traveling well and just went out like a light. I know. Yeah. So there's a few sort of soul searching moments, I'd say, after the Lawlers, but definitely not for Daryl Jacob and Paul Townend there on the best two horses in the race.
And if we're looking at trainers in the green, we've got to look at Big Dan Skelton. 6 winners on Saturday. You know, including Grey Dawning, who was very good. Phlegmatic just loves Kempton. What a record he has around Kempton. Won there at 7-2. And in terms of jockeys as well, I suppose you could really throw Tristan Durrell into the green as well.
Yeah.
Because he gave Phlegmatic a superb ride. And then shortly after that went on and won on 33-1 shot JJ Riley in the Lanzarote handicap hurdle. You know, so he had a great afternoon. He's firmly in the green. Big Dan Skelton is firmly in the green. What a Saturday they had.
Yeah, unbelievable, really. I think 6 winners. It's very impressive. They had a 1-6 shot, 7-2, 15-8, 5-4, 33-1, and 15-8 again. And 3 different jockeys rode those. I thought Grey Dawning was definitely the pick of them. Geez, he was very impressive in Warwick. He would have won a graded novice hurdle on the same card the year before that race was discontinued. But yeah, I think he's going to go to the Scilly Isles in Sandown next, and even going back in trip, I'd say. Like that Sandown card, you could get soft ground there, and you know he'd have a good chance there. I'd say that 2.5 mile division wouldn't be the strongest in the world over in the UK, but Tristan Durrell is riding a lot of nice winners for Dan Skelton sort of this season. So yeah, he seems to be going very well.
And Banbridge then at Kempton as well beat Pictory by almost 2 lengths. Very weak in the market. I was slightly against him, to be honest. It was Pictori who I had liked in that race. And Pictori, any chance that he had coming to the last was lost. Really, with the way he jumped the last in comparison to Banbridge. In all likelihood, Banbridge would have went on and won the race anyway. Um, but yeah, Banbridge, he's gone in very short now for the Ryanair, Killian. Um, and he's in the green, but I wouldn't be getting involved for the Ryanair at this stage with him, to be honest. That's my own personal opinion. He's like that was clearly a career best from him. And he is very ground dependent too, though. You couldn't get involved at 5-1 now, this far out, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you could actually back him for the race at that price, given like he will need better ground. If it is better ground, he'd be my idea the winner anyway. So he is very ground dependent. You said he got £3 off Pictori. I think he'd have won anyway. I'd say he wasn't over. JJ Slevin didn't really have to push a lot of buttons, I think, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I think they'll be very happy with that.
The crucial thing too, Billion, about this horse is he's 2 from 2 at Cheltenham.
Yeah,
And a festival winner too. Like, don't forget the Martin Pipe.
yeah.
And then I think it was Chase debut, or it was his second run, possibly over
He won the
fences.
Narco trial.
Yeah, I think it was second run over fences. Very impressive that day too. So he does love it around there. And you can see him being popular for March, but I don't know if he's I don't know if he's a real grade 1 horse. Now you might have to be a real grade 1 horse in open company to go and win the race, because it's looking like a weak enough renewal, to be honest with you. But I think that if Banbridge goes and wins it, I think it's a weak Ryanair.
I wouldn't say it's weak. I'd say it's very competitive. Like, he's definitely a grade 1 horse on better ground. If he gets good ground, he's a proper grade 1 horse. There's no question about it.
Over an
but
intermediate trip.
Yeah, over that.
Well, he's not a when you're looking for a proper grade 1 horse, and if you're relying on an intermediate trip and you're relying on ground, you're not a proper grade 1 horse in open company, would be my view on it.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be fine on a softer surface as well, but his optimal conditions are good ground, 2.5 miles, and like if he didn't, for let's say for whatever reason Cheltenham came up incredibly soft and he missed it, he's an absolute certainty in a melling chase in Aintree. I like he was very impressive at Aintree last year. I thought he won closely enough from San Roy. He was only just sort of doing what he needed to do, but. Same thing, like if for whatever reason he didn't go to Cheltenham, you could have the whole lot on him in a melling chase. He just wouldn't be beaten there. I think he could even win the Ryanair and win the melling chase. Like, he is very lightly raced as well. He hasn't had that many runs because he is so ground dependent. He's only had 15 career starts and he's won 9 of them. So like he is a very good horse. So I think it's,
now if I was having a bet in the race right now, looking at the first 4 in the market, I'd sooner back Allaho, Stage Star, or Envoy Allen, to be honest.
Would you backstage? I wouldn't backstage. Sorry.
I would, yeah. I'd excuse him. I'd excuse him that last run. He's got good enough form prior to that.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was lugging around savage weight against some good
horses.
Yeah.
No, he definitely was.
And didn't jump with the fluency that he usually does. I actually think Stage Star 7-1 isn't a bad bet.
But it's such a poor prep for a grade 1 is be the only thing. Really.
That horse left forgotten it just 3 months.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not an ideal prep.
As if he's fallen and then going out the next week and
no. But I don't think Paul Nichols would be delighted that this is the way he's had to plot the course to Cheltenham.
No.
But I'd of all them, probably Banbridge is the one I'd probably still back, because I'd say you're playing the risk. You probably will get nice ground. It'll be good to soft realistically, and if not, I'd probably do Envoy Allen, even though he's probably gone a bit short. The juice is probably gone out of that price in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, and just Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Um, we've got the double green then that we touched on very briefly. Simon Munir and Isaac Wade, Isaac Swade. Jesus, apologies.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. One, two, three, four, three winners at the weekend. Reading Tommy Wrong, Hunter's Yarn, and Intense Raffles, but they're brilliant at buying horses, to be fair. They've really, in the last couple of years, like they rarely have a bad horse. Hunter's Yarn was very impressive at Fairyhouse. Could be in the green in his own right.
Mm.
But they're going very well. To be fair, Killian, it's got to be noted.
Yeah, they are, and especially the horses they seem to send to Willie are going very well. Which is probably
Shock.
like, yeah, shock, like night and day winning the fog race down in Naas the last day,
Yeah.
wherever she came from. But yeah, that's they definitely are buying a lot of nice horses, and like she's going to be a nice one now this season. And you've El Fabiolo reading Tommy Wrong now. Hunter's Yarn is definitely a grade one horse, and you've other yokes like Matata, who seems to be going to be a good handicap chaser as well over sort of 2 miles.
Yeah.
Brawn, they have a lot of nice horses that have ran the last couple of weeks, and yeah, I think it's definitely good in Perry Pass, obviously, as well. So yeah, they're definitely the double green are in the green.
They are firmly in it. And another trainer who's in there, another owner who's in the green with Spallan's Towers, JP McManus. But Spallan's Tower, maybe took a small bit of time to get going, was running in some tough races there, was up against Facile Vega and the likes in the beginner's chase. But now has 2 wins on the trot. One rated novice chase at Punchestown back before Christmas, and again back at the same venue today, beating Blood Destiny by 2 lengths with Silent Approach back in third. But Blood Destiny 5-2 on favourite. Didn't find much really on the run in, and Spallan's Tower is a horse that will probably keep improving, I'd imagine, Killian.
Yeah, he would, I'm sure. And I'd say up and trip as well.
Yeah,
It could be potentially even better. Like he had some good form over hurdles when he beat by Imagine by a head in a 4-year-old maiden in Wexford last season, and then beat Franciscan Rock, who was third in a grade one in Punchestown in a maiden hurdle. Then and ran well in Punchestown, just got beaten by Monbeg Park in the sale sense race, and like he had a couple of nice horses behind, like so Uncle Phil, Arctic Brezel, Firm Footings. So yeah,
Mm.
he's definitely a horse that's improved over fences, and I don't think he was given too hard of a ride the day against Facile Vega, and improved in the last day to beat Firm Footings and to take another step forward. I think Jimmy Mangan, I don't know, has he had a graded winner in a while. So it's nice for him as well to see a smaller trainer get a win like that. So I'd say, like, I don't know, like he
It is
mightn't be a
indeed.
horse to go to Cheltenham with. Like
No, no.
maybe he would, but like he could
Uh,
definitely lie up in the Turners. But I'd say they might just mind him now, and maybe they could go for something next year with him.
yeah,
He's definitely one that, like, she was rated 137 before today. He's going to be 147 probably
yeah.
after that. But in that race as well, like, I think
It won't be 147 now for that.
it's going to be pretty close to it.
I'd say
I'd
not
say
five off
Silent
it.
Approach, the mare that came third, she's definitely a lively outsider in the mare's chase now. Um, like she was beaten 5 lengths, she gave him a pound, and she gave Blood Destiny 5 pounds, and beaten by
Yeah,
Blood Destiny by 3 lengths. So she's one to take out of it as well.
yeah, yeah. That's a very fair point. She's run a super race there. To be fair to her, Mystical Power then, Killian. A favourite for the Supreme ran in a bumper last May at Ballinrobe. Then ran in Galway in a maiden hurdle, won both of them. Now has won the Skybet Moscow Flyer hurdle and is 4-1 favourite for the Supreme. When have we ever seen a horse so short for such a race like the Supreme, who's won its bumper race in May in Ballinrobe, and then maiden hurdle at Galway. I know we had a maiden hurdle, good. What was that? Willie had a good one there 2 years ago. The one a maiden hurdle at Galway, but certainly the Ballinrobe aspect to it is
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
different. Who?
No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. But was very good today. Didn't jump well at all, but showed that he has a fair engine. I don't. I wouldn't really be taking 4-1 about him now. Certainly not. But what was very impressive, Killian.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, definitely very impressive, and I think his jumping was sketchy enough to be honest. And I don't think he travels fantastically, but he's definitely got a turn of foot, and they did go slow around, and it might have suited him as well. But I think maybe a bit quicker, a race that's ran at a better tempo might perk up his jumping as well. They were sort of just lobbing around, and he was a bit sort of deliberate and slow at them. But like I know you said going back to the bumper and Ballinrobe, and like I remember seeing him and running the bumper and Ballinrobe, saying, "Jesus Christ, like he must be just completely ground dependent. He's good ground horse, and he'll just be campaigned in the summers and all that." But like Marine National won a bumper in May last year, and I was in Punchestown, won another one in Killarney, and then went around twice, then over hurdles before Cheltenham. So it's not too dissimilar to that, and maybe we might see a bit more of that, like these sort of nicer types, the nicer ground horses, just get a nice introduction in the summer and then sort of wait their time with them till they get a good spring round maybe or something. But yeah, I wouldn't like to back him at 4-1 for the Supreme, but I can see the angle sort of why he's favourite, because he's only had 2 starts, and he's disposed of a very good horse in Gigaro as well by 7 lengths today with ease really. So I can see why they're making him favourite. Will he go off favourite in the day? Probably going to go straight to Cheltenham from here, so there probably will be the DRF race over 2 miles. It'll probably tell a lot as well, so it will be interesting. But he's definitely a nice horse, and going back to good mares produce good foals. So Annie has a nice one there anyway.
Yeah, 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 she does indeed. A great one, by the looks of it. The horse I was thinking of was Champ Kiley,
Oh yeah, sorry.
won a maiden
Yeah,
hurdle, and
yeah,
indeed Mystical Powers was a novice hurdle. I was
yeah.
checking to see was it the same race there. It wasn't. Um, Moving on then to the orange, Killian. You've got Chianti Classico in the orange. Stayed on very well behind Phlegmatic. I thought was probably sort of I thought he was going to stay on and win it, to be honest. But Phlegmatic just kept on finding in front for Tristan Durrell. But Chianti Classico, you have him in the orange. Why so?
Yeah, I do have him in the orange. I suppose he's like phlegmatic. Definitely got first run on him, so that did make a difference. And there was an extra £3 there with Tristan Durrell. But yeah, Chianti Classico got a thought he got a soft enough ride throughout the race. He was kept wide, and he jumps really well. He's a very good jumper. A lot of them sort of Kim Bailey horses, you see them that like to go forward, and they are very good jumpers. But I just thought maybe there might have one eye on the Ultima. I know it's a race. He tends to sort of target with these 3 mile chasers in the festival. Happy Go Lucky ran a big race in it a couple of years ago, and I just think maybe they might be looking at minding his mark a small bit. And that's his third run over fences now, is it? So he
Yeah.
just need one more run, I think, and that gets him in. So I think it was a pretty soft ride. Like he did try and stay on and try and win the race, obviously, but I think it was just more so like if they'd ridden him maybe a bit not as wide as they had, I think he probably would have won.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite possible, but Phlegmatic, loves it around there, really.
Yeah, he does.
We've got Romeo Coolio as well in the amber. He was um, he was workmanlike, a huge talking horse before the race, and won. But he didn't necessarily win in the fashion that might have been expected by some. I think it was the Let's Talk Racing lads when they were on racing TV towards the start of the season. They had to give a couple of horses to follow, and one of them could have been Josh. Picked out Romeo Coolio. Had heard a lot of good things about him. And there definitely was word flying about. I'm surprised he went off even money.
Yeah.
But Gordon has said the horse is going to come on a lot for it. But he really would need to come on a lot, I reckon, if he's to lay up in March against the best bumper horses around.
Yeah, well, I think it's like Jalan Dudery is the favorite for the bumper. He's also Gordon's. If I was to pick between the two now, I'd say Jalan Dudery. Like
Fully agree.
you could easily have put Romeo Coolio on the green though. Like I don't know what people want. I saw a lot of bashing of him yesterday. I don't agree with it at all. Like there was a very slowly run bumper. You look at Romeo Coolio and tell me he needs a slowly run 2 miles and just kicks away. Class got him home there yesterday. Like he's a very classy horse, and a stronger run race is going to suit him. The bumper will be a stronger run race than that race there in Fairyhouse yesterday.
Yeah.
Like if you want to define what a bumper is like and what the objective of a bumper is um the fact that you want to give an introduction to a horse. That was a great introduction for Romeo Coolio, I think. And
Yeah.
like he will improve a lot for that run. I know
He'll,
the horse
he'll,
in
he'll
second.
need to.
I know the horse, but he mightn't win the bumper, but he doesn't need to win the bumper. He could end up being
No.
an exceptional horse still
And
without it.
and actually, speaking about bumpers, he doesn't need to win the bumper. I hate bumpers. I have no time for
Yeah,
them.
I know you do. Yeah,
I don't care who wins it, really. Like, was Romeo Coolio bought to win a bumper? Absolutely
no,
not.
he was not.
Was
No,
any horse in the bumper this year bought to win a bumper? No, they
no,
were
they
not.
weren't. No,
They're bought for jumping. And what they do on the flat really is irrelevant to me. Like if a horse goes and wins a champion bumper and can't do it over hurdles or can't do it over fences, well, then he's failed. I don't care really. It means nothing to me. It doesn't come on my radar. But I do think that I do agree with your point that a strongly run race will suit him better.
yeah, no, it
Um,
definitely will. And like, if you try and look at the form lines here a second, like you've got the horse that was second to Romeo Coolio on Saturday was beaten 13 lengths by Mongebello in Down Royal at Christmas. And like he's obviously taken a massive step forward for his run as well. I think he's a nice horse too. The what's he called again? Sporting Glory. I'd say keep an eye on him. And then like if you look back to the mares the mayor's bumper on in Navan in November that only by night won. Like she's a very nice horse of Gavin Cromwell's there, and she's come out and won a maiden hurdle very easily since she's came over from John Joe's now. She's won 3 times for Cromwell, so she's a very nice horse as well. So like it's not complete the dog shit form, and like Romeo Coolio will benefit a lot from a stronger run race. Like look at the size of him. Like he's not I don't think we're going to see Romeo Coolio running in a champion hurdle.
yeah.
So
No,
that
I do agree.
I think it was a great introduction from he's won the race, but like I think people have just like they're just because he was a short price for the champion bumper, they want to bash him. I think that's wrong, and so they'll have egg on their face. Now, to be honest, I don't think he'll win the bumper
Yeah.
necessarily, but I think he's going to be a very good horse down the line.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't disagree nor agree. I won't judge a thing on what he's going to do down the line based off what I saw this weekend from him. Stanton Roy is in the amber as well. In the Dan Moore came fourth, best 7 lengths by Uncle Phil, who was a good winner of the race. Um, you must have your eye on him for further down the line.
Yes, like he does have good form in running in grade ones last year. He won a grade one at Leopardstown on Christmas last year. Was third in the Arkle, beaten 12 lengths, was second in the 2.5 mile grade one at Aintree behind Banbridge, and then like he's came back this year. I don't think he was much of a trier either of the 2 days.
Yeah.
In Navan or in Leopardstown, and he's dropped into a handicap off mark of 151. He's beaten 7 3/4 lengths. Um, it's hard to know. Like, I'd say he could easily go up and trip and run in a race like the Plate,
Yeah.
and maybe lob a claimer up in him,
Yeah.
and could win a race like that. He's a 9-year-old now, so they probably have a year to win a big pot like that. So
Yeah.
between this season and the first sort of between this season and next season is his time. He's definitely going to win a big handicap at some stage. I
Yeah,
just keep an eye on him, and when the money comes down,
follow
he'd
it.
be one to watch. Yeah, follow it in. Yeah.
Yeah. Blood Destiny, another chaser for Willie Mullins. We mentioned him briefly already. Found nothing off the bridle. Doesn't look like a horse who does find anything really off the bridle, and is one to probably avoid going forward. Would that be fair to say, Killian?
Yeah, I think so. I think like even from looking at him in his bumper or in his juvenile hurdle days, he's Mr. I want to dominate, and if I can't just dominate the race, I'm not much use to you.
Mm,
And that's what he did in Fairyhouse last January, in a 4-year-old hurdle race, and he was well beaten in the Triumph. Got beaten by Andy McNamara's horse then in Fairyhouse in the Grade Two, and
yeah,
yeah, he looked very impressive. Like it was one of the best beginner's chase performances I think we've seen all year when he beat Hartwood by 9 lengths. Now he was getting £8, but for the 4-year-old allowance, but he was definitely very impressive. And Hartwood's a very good horse, and he's one that's going to win races as well. But I
yeah.
think that
We've
yeah,
we've been here before with him though,
with who
with Blood Destiny.
we
We've
have,
seen
yeah, and I just don't think
we've seen this playbook, you know.
yeah, he folded in Fairyhouse
Yeah,
in the Grade Two, and he folded again today in Punchestown, and
yeah.
I just don't know, is his heart really in it?
No, no. I
Push
think
comes to shove.
we've seen the playbook, you know, and
Yeah,
I think you'd be mad now in any sort of a decent race,
yeah,
to be getting involved with him going
yeah.
forward.
I think so. Yeah.
Edward Stone Killian now is one you're going to have to leave behind as well, because you've given him too many chances. Uh, I remember you talking him up before the King George, saying that if he did go there, you'd possibly like him. I don't know if that was on air or off air.
Yeah. No, I would have.
I know you had him up on Twitter. Uh, you know, you were looking for that step up in trip. To be fair, I can see the angle there. You know, at 10 years of age now, the step up in trip was probably needed, but has been bet 25 lengths on ground that he likes. And I think now is time to leave go.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, it sounds like you were giving me like a sermon there, saying I need to let go. I know myself. Yeah. No, one more chance up and trip is all it was, and like he's not going to win a Grade 1 or 2 miles again. John Bond's there to mop those up, but he is a multiple Grade 1 winner, and you have to respect that as well.
You do, but
Um,
he's not going to. He won't
No,
win
no,
another
he's not
Grade One
getting any better.
at
But
any distance.
that race in theory was very winnable for Edward Stone. Race fit, having ran a really good race in Sandown in the Tingle Creek behind John Bon, stepping up
Yeah.
and trip. And as you said, on ground that he liked, and he just for whatever reason he didn't perform. Now he was very keen. I could see it after half a mile. I said he's probably not going to get home here. And like coming around the bend in Kempton, you never want to see a horse being pushed along, really, unless you're maybe Hewick and King George. So yeah, he was there, and I knew my goose was cooked at that stage.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we spoke about the race already with Bambridge anyway. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, Edward Stone in the red, avoid, avoid, avoid.
Yeah. Mr. Policeman, we spoke about already. We had him down for the red, but we spoke about him. And the last horse we have in the red, and I've heard the doorbell ring there, my takeaway is there. So we won't delay this too much. But Enola, Killian. All talk for the Mayor's Novice Hurdle has been bet twice now in maiden hurdles at odds of 7-4 and 6-4 on in Clonmel last week. Um, you know, firmly in the red, really. And it wasn't justified. The talk wasn't justified in terms of Mayor's Novice Hurdle anyway.
No, definitely not. And like I think if you look at Enola, she was rated a very very high mark on the flat. She was up in the hundreds, I think. So, and she's just not a real. She wouldn't be much of a hurdler now in my eyes. And like she was opened up a very short price in Cork. And ended up going off 7-4, and that was before the race. I'd say if you backed her, you knew you were beaten, and there, even in Clonmel, the last in a mare's maiden hurdle, like should be, if you're all the talk of the place, you should be winning that. And she's been beaten by a stable mate that had some very very ordinary form, really. So yeah, I
Yeah,
don't I don't think that Enola is going anywhere, and I'd say she's on the avoid list as well.
Yeah, yeah. But that's horse racing. All
It
the
is,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
talk horses
Absolutely.
they can't. I know we're talking about Mr. Policeman and we're talking about at Heart and Ola there, but you know, like if they're going well at home, it's just the way it is. Sometimes they go well at home, they don't go well on the track. Sometimes they go very well at home and they
And
don't go well
Annie's
on
lad
the
is the
track.
opposite. He goes terrible at home,
And
according to David Casey.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
look at
But
him, grade 2 winner.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But sure. Look, put it this way, he's economical. Regardless what you do at home, you're still going to have to go out and do it on the track, you
Yeah.
know. So you may as well
You'd have had a
regular.
little hand in mystical power, had you?
Oh, I don't know, a very little hand.
You were whispering in his ear as a foal, were you?
When I was in college, I was working part time in Coolmore Stud, in one of the mares and foaling units, and Annie Power was there with little mystical power. He was much smaller back then, but yeah, yeah. So I don't know.
You said save your best for the track.
I told him, I said, save your best for the track. I said,
Yeah.
regardless what you do now
Yeah.
in the gallops, wherever you end up, regardless what you do there, you're still going to have to go out to the track and do it.
You're going to have to do it. Don't
So
be
there's no point
wasting
bursting,
yourself.
no point bursting your hole at home
Yeah.
because you'll have to go out and do it.
Yeah, that's for
Regardless,
sure. For sure.
you know.
No,
So on
they
that
may
note,
thank
we'll
you.
leave it off. On that note,
Absolutely, yeah.
huh?
Yeah, and they may thank you, I'm saying.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. But on that note, we leave it there for this week. We might be back midweek with a couple of anti-post selections. They're sort of building up here a small bit, Killian. We should probably get 1 or 2 videos out, I'd say, probably this week.
Yeah.
With a horse, because I have 1 or 2 that I'd like to get out, and I know you're similar.
Yeah.
We only have 2 each so far. You're going a bit better than I am, but
None of us are going well until we have money in our back pocket in March.
well, now you said it. Now you said it. There's no point having value if value loses.
Yeah, value is not worth the fuck to you.
You're well off with an even money winner on the day than a 66 to 1 second. You know?
Yeah, 66 to 1 into 5 to 4 and get bet, it's still a loser, like.
Still a loser, you know. That's the way it is. But look, lads, for this week, at least for the next few days, that's all from us. I hope you enjoy listening to it. Don't forget, like, subscribe, let us know what you thought in the comments. I'm off for my takeaway, and we'll see you next time.
Good luck, thank you.
It's Honeysuckle and Rachel Blackmore, Racing's Golden Jewel!